If you lived through the early 2000s, you are probably aware of this infamous graphical error where you could drag the windows on Windows XP and it would infinitely generate windows and copies of itself. It's a fairly annoying graphical bug, but nowadays this sort of glitch is, rarely seen in modern day operating systems such as Windows 10, Mac OS, any Linux distros. So the question is can we actually recreate this awful looking thing? And the good news is that yes, we can. Yes, we definitely can. And with this simple web tool that I've developed, you can actually change the way the object is being replicated inside a web browser, which is pretty cool. So anyways, before I go into detail, I want to give a rough idea of how this actually happens, and it's to do with the way a graphical user interface is updated, also known as a GUI. I'm going to show you an easy way how to make something using P5.js, a art-focused JavaScript library that I would highly recommend you guys should check out. I'm choosing P5.js over something more complex like a game engine like Unity or Unreal Engine to showcase how to replicate this error in the shortest amount of lines as possible. And with this solution, you should be able to translate it to most other languages with ease, because I'm going to be explaining the theoreticals behind this glitch. Anyways, when you are rendering a GUI to the screen or anything to that matter, everything that is dynamic and can be altered needs to be refreshed at some point of time. I know this isn't exactly the correct terminology, but imagine a video game. If I wanted a circle to move from the left side to the right side of the screen, in a typical video game, this circle will be updated 60 frames per second, but even though we're using a plain black background, the background also needs to be updated at 60 frames per second to stop any replication of this circle. But if we were just to say the background shouldn't be updated, that's how we get this replication. Now, interestingly, this issue can actually still crop up in some video games with skyboxes that can just be infinitely duplicated. It's most notable in games like Garry's Mod. And it's also common in games to have like out of bounds errors where you could like cause the same issue. It's an interesting thing to look at. Now, while this is technically a graphical bug, there is actually something quite nice about dragging a window and just creating infinite copies of a window. Anyways, let's get to how I actually made this solution. The way to do this is to effectively disable the updating of the background, which can be done simply with a boolean. In P5.js, I've simply created a boolean check, and this is in a function called draw. Now, draw updates 60 times per second, and what this boolean check does, it will check if the boolean is set true. If it's set true, the background will render at 60 frames per second. However, if it's untrue, it just won't render. So effectively, anything else in the scene apart from the background will be updated. And with this little bit of code, you can have a lot of fun with duplicating any objects, and not just windows, because bear in mind, these are images in P5.js. They are not actually Windows XP windows. So you can change them to whatever you want. And as a little bonus, I've actually implemented a feature where you can upload your own images into the sketch, and you can change the update rate of the background if you wanted to, because bear in mind that 60 times per second isn't always the standard. And the code is available on GitHub, so if you want to use it or modify in any ways possible, feel free to. And if you make any cool little sketches with this program, please send it to me on Twitter. I would love to see what you guys can make with these tools. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.